Hello and thank you for joining us again on the midweek edition of Journalist Hangout. I am Kemi Foladiamo. Today on the program, Governor Sanwo-Olu vows to hunt down the the kidnappers of police chief as kidnappers go on rampage in Lagos, abduct retired Air Vice Marshal and 4 others in 48 hours. Later on the show, the federal government accuses airport workers of taking bribes from travelers to evade COVID-19 quarantine. I'll be hanging out today with Babajide Sanwo-Olu and Mojid Jamil. Welcome, gentlemen, to Journalist Hangout Midweek Edition.
Thank you for having us.
If you're ready, Journalist Hangout starts now. We begin on a sad note with the unfortunate incident in Anambra State, southeast Nigeria. On Tuesday, gunmen killed Dr. Chike Akuyali, the husband to the former Director General of NAFDAC, who was also a former information minister. We're talking about the husband to the late Professor Dora Akuyali, who was killed at Moji in Idemili North local government area. His driver and escort were also killed during the attack. And in another sorry tale of the festering insecurity in the eastern part of the country. BKO, a really sad, unfortunate and needless killing, or series of killings if you look at the trend of such attacks in Anambra and neighboring states.
I was discussing with a friend this morning who is based in Anambra, and he told me that that day 4 attacks took place. The problem is not every attack gets reported. Oh, this is someone prominent in the society, therefore when such a person gets killed, it will attract the attention of the media. So that's to tell you that there is a real rage of insecurity in the southeast, especially Anambra State. Last weekend, one nasty video went viral. It was the video of a man wearing dreadlocks, shot at close range by cultists, and then beheaded. So after they beheaded him, they began kicking his head from one part of the field where they were to another, using his head to play football, and they were now mocking the deceased in death. That happened in Anambra East local government, Ibariam. That's the name of the community. I'm really worried for the southeast. The descent to anarchy in the southeast is a matter of grave concern because it's not Anambra State alone. These things happen in Enugu. You see people being attacked, especially on Mondays. Even after IPOP said, no, we have decided that we will no longer do sit at home on Mondays except on days when Nnamdi Kanu will be brought to court. But hoodlums are still killing people for refusing to sit in their homes and embrace hunger on Mondays. So it's terrible. No one deserves to die in the manner in which Dr. Akuyali has died on a day that he went to receive a posthumous award.
Indeed.
In honor of his wife.
Indeed.
You know, I mean, it's just terrible. It's even possible that they felt he was a politician. It may have been a case of mistaken identity, because I really can't put my finger on what's going on. And this insecurity in the southeast is not limited to IPOB or its paramilitary unit, ESN. Criminal headsmen are also killing people in the southeast. In Ebonyi, for example, headsmen have killed people so many times. In Enugu, they've been killing people. So it's not what has really worsened the situation is the role of IPOB in all of this violence. But the violence being visited on people in that part of the country is not limited to IPOB or to ESN. Even security agents too are involved. Sometimes just firing on people needlessly. So something must give. This orgy of violence has to stop. No one knows what will happen in just a matter of days to the governorship election, for example. We don't know what these people have in mind. They could just be killing people unless we are able to protect our people much better. This thing will degenerate.
Indeed, Moji Jamiu, how would you react to the killing of Dr. Akuyali? Eyewitnesses are reported to have heard the killers, saying or chanting that there will be no election in Anambra in November. And of course, IPOB has come out to say that they have no hand in the killing, rather attributing it to political forces.
It's a very sad development, especially given the fact that just yesterday, like Jide said earlier, he was accompanied by his son, who is also a political appointee in the government of Anambra State, to receive an award, a posthumous award, at University of Nigeria, Nsukka. They departed, they hugged themselves, and they left, and on his way he was hacked down in that manner. And you see, the security concern in Anambra is really getting worrisome. Recall that about 3 months ago, Professor Charles Soludo, the Abga candidate, was also, he barely escaped in the same Anambra, right in his village. They trailed him there and they killed some of his security aides, but he was able to escape. Up till today, those who are behind that attack, have not been captured, or we have not heard any other thing about it. And now this, and like it's a recurring decimal now in Anambra and several other parts of the country, especially in the southeast. Now that of Anambra is becoming really worrisome because IPOB is threatening that. There will be no election. Because the election is just a few weeks away, that there will be no election. So they are sit at home and what have you. There have been heightened state of insecurity in that. But I think the leaders of the Southeast should come together and do something drastic about this, because apart from the fact that Dora Akuyali served Nigeria, in a manner, and the way she died of cancer and what have you. Look at the husband, also a medical doctor, is just coming out of the shock of the death of the wife. Now it was gone down. Now the children are now total complete widows. So orphans. So look at the manner. I don't think he is involved in any politics.
He's not a politician.
He's not a politician.
That's why I say it could be mistaken identity.
But even at that, it goes to show that if somebody like this could be killed, it means virtually nobody is safe in Anambra, and to a larger extent, the whole of the southeast. This is a situation that calls for grave concern and a rejig of our entire security architecture, especially as it borders on the southeast and the northern parts of the country. The rate of insecurity is getting more worrisome. And
if we still, keep our spotlight in Anambra, even though concerns are also mounted on this spate of insecurity across the country, but looking at the fact that elections are indeed a few weeks away, as have been rightly pointed out by you both, BKO, so what happens? How much of an impact, or how can the impact of this insecurity in Anambra State be mitigated as the election date or day draws nearer?
I think that the best that the government can do is to tighten security in that state. Thankfully, Anambra is not too big to be policed. It's not as big as Enugu State. Enugu is the biggest state in the southeast. So they should be able to pour security operatives into that state and increase patrols, motorized patrols, not simply standing on one spot checkpoint. No, motorized patrols would help us secure that whole area better, because I can sense that even that election, the turnout will be extremely low. People tend to fear IPOB and its agents more than they fear Nigerian security agents or even the government. We've seen governments issue threats that if you don't come to work, you lose your job on Mondays, and people stay in their homes. Okay, let me lose my job. It's better to lose my job than to lose my life. We've seen governors of the Southeast issue such threats. Well, people won't listen. Biko,
let me interrupt you. We have a very first caller on the show today, Abubakar from Kaduna. I will get back to you, Biko. Good evening, Abubakar.
Good evening.
Welcome.
Good evening.
My regard to the people on there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Abu. Carry on, please.
I guess you can.
Now good. I want to comment on this Igbo people issue, this IPOB. You see, in this IPOB issue, it's like all the people in the Igbo land are in the support of this IPOB, because I don't know why all the governors in the Igbo land have no power, and all the traditional people have no power, and all the elders in that region have no power to talk to them. And they are dealing with their people. They don't know that they are destroying their economy, because all what they are doing it because of one person, Nnamdi Kanu. That Nnamdi Kanu, if he see way, he will run away and go back to that Oyibo land. He is contributing nothing to their economy.
All right.
Think they can.
All right, thank you very much, Laji Abubakar there. Well, BKO, and in response to what our caller said, of course, more and more influential people have come out severally to stand with
Ohaneze, for example.
Nigeria.
Ohaneze, for example, said, see,
indeed,
you cannot say that you are going to do a lockdown for 1 month if the DSS does not produce Nnamdi Kanu in court. You can imagine what pains, what agonies people will go through if you say they should sit inside their houses for 1 whole month.
Even for a week.
It's easier imagined. So Ohaneze has come out to say, no, even Kanu would not approve of this, because he won't be happy to see his people suffer. After all, the whole idea, he complained that the Southeast was marginalized and badly treated. That was why it took up this fight. Now, for some people to now say people should sit in their houses and not work. If you don't work, how do you feed? How do you feed your children for a whole month? So Ohaneze has come out. So I disagree that it's like everyone is happy. No, people are not happy. People can't be happy that they can't go to work. People can't be happy that they step out of their houses and they risk being killed. People, even hotels now, people are even scared to stay even in hotels, because we could hunt you down right there. So no one can be happy with that state of affairs. The point is, efforts have to be made to protect our people better, because at the end of the day, it is the responsibility of government to protect the people. Some of these victims now, they are just innocent people. You could just be unlucky. Okay, somebody moving from state to state, and he got to some part of the east, and they stopped his truck and set ablaze all of what he was carrying. The truck that was bearing motorcycle parts the other day was heading for Kogi State. So innocent people are suffering. This whole thing has to end. You can't continue like this, just killing people. So people don't feel protected. If the moment they feel protected, they will come out of their homes, go to their workplaces when you tell them to walk out or come out. But they can't feel that protection. They've seen people who dared to come out being killed. This is a complete state of lawlessness, because even after IPOB said, no, we are not saying people should not go out. Some miscreants have not taken it upon themselves to be killing people on Mondays, destroying people's workplaces. Right. So in such a state of insecurity,
it has become a Monday ritual.
In such a state of insecurity, you just have to hide your head inside your house. If you are traveling, wherever you are, just stop. Don't move further, because if you move further, move into the east, anything will happen to you.
Majid, your last thoughts on this. Of course, we are getting into more discussions on the insecurity in the country, coming even to Nigeria's commercial capital of Lagos. But the government's handling of the situation in the southeast, in Anambra State specifically, versus IPOB and the perceptions around IPOB having a hand despite their denials. How do you think the government, can be more proactive?
I said it earlier. The government and the elders needs to come together. Because apparently, the guys, bearing the IPOB shield is that they are young men. And they can't claim to have more wisdom than, you see that more elderly people are in Ohanese, while the IPOB seems to be the youth wing. Now, it is the IPOB that is the militant group that are insisting on all these things, that are creating fears in people. And it's like NSAS in Lagos, which was hijacked by hoodlums. The IPOB sit-at-home process have been hijacked by hoodlums, who feel that, well, they have, they should harass people who refuse to stay at home almost every Monday now, even when IPOB has said no. It's only on court days for Nnamdi Kanu that the sister home will be enforced. So I suggest that the government should sit down with the leaders and traditional rulers to call these boys, quote unquote, to order, and allow peace to reign in the southeast. Because it will be a disincentive to investment. People will run away from that place.
All right, we'll rest our conversation on the issue in Anambra State for now. We'll get back and hope that we have more palatable news to discuss on the situation in Anambra State. In the meantime, back here in Lagos, some unscrupulous people are troubling the peace in Nigeria's commercial hub. Some killings and abductions are being recorded in the state, and the authorities have now vowed appropriate response. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has vowed to ensure that the killers of the Chief Superintendent of Police, Kazeem Abonde, are brought to justice. And that killing has even precipitated some tension in the last 48 hours, still in Lagos, with the abduction of 5 persons, including a retired Air Force Marshal, Sikiru Smith. Because this kidnap happened further in the Ajah area of Lagos here, and the circumstances, thanks to the driver who happened to have left his boss to run some errands, that was how this news circulated all across the state. But indeed, we should be concerned.
We should be concerned because we are saying that Lagos was fortunate to not be coming under the kind of attacks that we are daily reading about in the northwest and the north central. If Lagos degenerates to that level, we will all be in trouble. I could say that Lagos is the safest state in Nigeria because relative to the size of its population, the kind of criminal activities that we hear about in other parts of Nigeria, we don't hear about them here. Cultism is rampant here, but you will not compare cultism to rampant banditry in Kaduna, for example, and the number of people who get killed. If we could lose more than 3,000 people within 3 months in our country, out of this number, how many people died in Lagos? 88 persons died in one day in Kebbi State. 88 persons in Kebbi State, in the Zulu Emirate. So, for us to start hearing about kidnapping, especially the kind of kidnapping that involved this Air Vice Marshal Smith,
yeah,
it bears the hallmark of the kind of kidnap that of school children, students of Babintin Ashaye school back then. You know, those who carried out the attack operated on the Lagos waterways. Militants who came all the way from Ondo State. Thankfully, they were eventually arrested. These ones too were clearly maybe militants who had been dislodged from some parts of Lagos, Korodu, Arepo, places where they were vandalizing pipelines, because the civil defense have done a lot of work in terms of protecting pipelines in Lagos, and they've been dislodging these fellows. It is suspected that they were the ones who carried out, given the modus operandi, that they were the ones who carried out this abduction of Sikiru Smith. And unfortunately, even his orderly, the corporal, was not there because he had sent him.
Given some form of protection.
Well, maybe
arguably,
depending on how
those guys were.
How much the opposition.
He probably would not have been able to stand up.
Maybe he would just have a 6 round of a pistol with him.
They probably would have killed him as well, you know. But he was not around, and the man was taken away. So after that, we've also heard about the Redeemed Church pastor who was kidnapped in Dokpemo Agege along with his wife.
The wife.
So you want to ask, what's going on? What are these people trying to turn Lagos to? We just have to be vigilant. It is said that eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. We can't sit back in Lagos and convince ourselves that everything is fine. These things don't happen here. Therefore, imagine that it can never happen. No, it can happen. As criminals are being dislodged up north and other places, they will find havens. They will look for havens. And if Lagos provides haven for them, they will be happy to sit here.
Sure.
Some states are banning commercial motorcyclists. They are banning them. Lagos has not found the courage to ban them, because we think if we ban them, we will all die. In Kano State, no town in Nigeria, no city in Nigeria had as many commercial motorcyclists like Kano. I lived in Kano for more than 7 years. If they told me that commercial motorcyclists could be banned in Kano, I would argue. And when you are looking for the most dangerous motorcycle riders, they were in Kano. In fact, my boss, Dapolo Yomi, described them as having a laissez-faire attitude to life. That was how he described them. But today, in the aftermath of the Boko Haram insurgency, Kano had to take a decision, because they were using bikes to kill people. You could be inside your car and they will just ride their bike beside you, identify you and kill you.
Yeah.
So the government had to take a decision. Commercial motorcycling banned in Kano. Of all places, I never believed it could happen.
And everyone has not fallen.
And everyone has not fallen. They've taken to riding, what was it?
Keke
Marwa.
Tricycles.
You can ride a bike, but you can't carry anybody. If you carry a passenger, that means you are a commercial motorcycle and you are in trouble. And they are enforcing it. Lagos has LASMA. Kano has Karota. Karota does the same thing that LASMA does in Kano. I can tell you, as someone who goes to Kano regularly, that Karota is more vicious in the enforcement of traffic laws than LASMA. I can tell, ask anybody who is in Kano. The fear of Karota is the beginning of wisdom. So what we are saying is, look, every society deserves the kind of law that best fits it. When HIV/AIDS became a big problem in Uganda, Museveni and people were raping people, young people, raping virgins, in the hope that when they raped a virgin, they will be cleansed of HIV. Imagine that idiotic thinking. What did Museveni do? Museveni then came up with a law that prescribed death for rape. That whole thing came down. We no longer read about people raping virgins in the hope that they will be cleansed of HIV/AIDS in Uganda, as it was happening at that time.
So we'll continue the conversation. We have to take a commercial break at this point. You're watching Journalist Hangouts. There's more in a moment. Please stay with us. You're watching Journalist Hangout on TVC News. We're still on the issue of enhancing peace and security in Lagos State, especially in the wake of this concerning kidnappings and other insecurity alerts in the city. Well, Mr. Jamu, BK has spoken about a ban on the commercial motorcyclists in Nigeria's commercial capital city. He has also talked about, you know, the dislodging of criminals at the creeks in the city. These people are now looking for safe havens. And the governor has also spoken a few months ago when the police appeared to be in denial of, you know, kidnappings like this. The governor had indeed, you know, voiced out that we all should be responsible, you know, for our own and be more security conscious, really. But if you can speak on the issue of the motorcyclists, you know, we have so many of them in the city, but would a ban on them help?
I don't think there's a better time to enforce a ban on commercial motorcyclists, also known as Okada, than now. Because in the last 2 weeks, there was a popular biker, Afolabi Mabogunje, who was stabbed right at, I think, Onipan bus stop. I mean, all bikers from all over the world came to Nigeria for the burial. He was stabbed by Okada riders, 5 of them, just because they want to snatch his phone. Around 6 p.m. in the evening. That was about 2 weeks ago. And just last week, CSP Kazeem Abonde was killed by Okada riders in Lagos. This, and the case of this CSP is not as if he has 2 heads or something. This is a guy, a police officer that has about 5 master's degrees and he has a PhD in view. I mean, it touched my heart.
Just wasted like that.
It was just wasted like that by Okada riders. So now I was happy when I saw that charge. I won't say it's a statement from the Lagos State governor yesterday, personally signed by him, giving a direct charge to Akeem Odumosu, the Commissioner of Police, that he should go after the killers of CSP Abonde. I mean, they must be brought to book. But then, like we were discussing before we came on the show, most of these commercial motorcyclists, the riders, they are not Nigerians. So they don't care. They don't give a hoot. And most of them are in Lagos. If you look at the percentage, more than 50% of them are not Nigerians. They don't. I mean, so they don't care. They don't even know how to write. They are not registered. They are not licensed. They don't have any address that you can trace them to. So that's why they go on the loose, and they have this their group. It's like they send to themselves. Maybe they are from Niger Republic or from Benin Republic. Most of them are not Nigerians. So why can't we enforce that ban and send these hoodlums out of Lagos? See, the rate of criminality is on the increase because even those routes that were hitherto restricted, by the Lagos State government.
They are back on them.
They are back on them. You'll be driving.
Riding against traffic.
Riding against traffic.
Even on the express.
On the express.
And you dare not touch them.
If you touch any of them, before you know it, about 30 of them, they will come back.
Surround you and tap you. They don't want, even if you are a woman, they will surround you, humiliate you. Yeah. They don't want to know. They have no, because these are people who are constantly on drugs. Go to Lekki, see what they are doing in Lekki. How can a society allow so-called motorcycle taxis to constitute the nonsense that they have become in Lekki, a highbrow part of our country that we should be proud of? Now, these vermins are the ones who are literally taking charge of things.
Yeah.
They rob you at will. You are never safe.
The governor has also spoken about, okay, before we continue, Chris Lewis from Edo, you're welcome. Lewis from Enugu State, you're welcome. Good evening.
Yes, Lewis, by the grace of God, an apostle and Christ ambassador in Enugu. Please, I want to say something. We need a solution for the problem we have in insecurity in Nigeria here. Government should help us. Like the day they say they will bring in the Carlo out for court. Let them do that, and it is not a crime to bring him out from the cell to court. After all, Nigerian government is greater than anything they will face. I don't see the reason why they will be afraid to execute what they are.
It's glitching.
All right, we apologize for those glitches now. Thank you very much, Mr. Lewis, for speaking to us on Journalist Hangout. Well, back to the studio. The governor of Lagos has also spoken about enhancing security architecture in the state in response and as a way to be proactive and be on top of its game. What do you have to say about what we currently have and what we need for a more secure state?
There is no measure of security you can take without effecting a ban on Okada. And it will all come to naught. Because it's like these characters, it's like they have a law. They don't obey traffic law. They are a law unto themselves. They don't believe that any law is made for them. So, I mean, it's like they operate in their own colony. They have their own fiefdom. So, a ban on Okada will drastically reduce the crime rate in Lagos because it's an easy getaway for all these hoodlums.
Yes.
You go to a bank, to an ATM to withdraw money. A bike man is waiting to watch you. The moment you are coming out, they just come at you with a gun. Before you know it, they jump on the bike and zoom off. I mean,
one will be on the bike. The other one will come across you.
Come across too.
Once rob you, they climb the bike.
Yeah,
we have so many videos. Even the police, they have many videos. Of real-time robbery by Okada riders.
The Lagos government is installing cameras all over, but
there are cameras in some areas, in more and more areas. How come those don't can't help?
Those cameras will not work if you still allow all these Okada riders. Most of them don't even have plate numbers. The camera
and many of them are not registered. How many people have registered
those cameras are largely
for
motorists.
More for motorists.
Those of us who are beating, you see red light, you refuse to stop. They will catch you and then you pay a fine later. That's what those lights are for. Well, we are saying that we just read as we were coming into this story that Kaduna had decided to ban the Okada operation. I've not read the details. I've not seen it. It's just the news bite that we saw. Whether it is permanent or just meant for a period of time, we don't even know yet. But Kaduna has taken that decision. And I know that if anything, if Governor Rufai gets pushed to the wall on any matter, he's never afraid to take the big decisions.
Regardless of the opposition.
That little man is never afraid to take the big decisions. That is one thing that we have come to associate with him. Okada riders have pushed us to breaking point in this state. And there's a need to realize that if you want to improve security in Lagos State, you start by dealing decisively with those guys. You take a big decision. Yes, people will feel the pain, but government has to prepare. All this what's that vehicle called? The ones that Falike is sharing.
Yeah,
all over the place. Get a lot more of them.
Those Suzuki.
Yes, so small vehicles. Yeah. Get a lot more of them. Flood the city with them. They will replace
and restrict them to certain routes. Yeah.
They will replace these bikes. They can go. They can even go into the inner city, city streets and all that. They can go there, because they are small. But to simply resign to fate, imagine that we cannot, we can't ban them.
No.
Who are they? In this country, there was a time when there was nothing like motorcycle taxi. Yeah. Were we not getting by?
Sure.
It's a very recent development. It's a very recent. When we were growing up, there was nothing like that.
People should we should even learn to exercise. Then if you need to go on a journey, plan your journey very well. So you leave early. So I mean, you would say you want to beat traffic by
if we have enough buses. If we have enough buses.
It shouldn't be
the reason these guys. There are some communities that people can't get to. Vehicles, no taxis don't go to those places. I mean, buses don't go to those places. That's the reason why they look indispensable. And another thing, even if Lagos bans Okada and Ogun State, the state notorious for having the worst roads in Nigeria, if they don't do anything about Okada, things will get worse. They will be coming into Lagos. They will be coming into Lagos to commit crimes.
Look at them. That's a highbrow area in Lagos.
People are saying when there are graduates who are riding Okada, what do? Let government get a lot of those vehicles. Tell them to come and register. And then these graduates, give them those vehicles to use.
All right.
What did Akpabio do? He banned Okada and he bought taxis for them.
BKO, let's accommodate Rashid from Port Harcourt. We'll get more on this topic. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, madam. BKO, good evening.
Good evening, my brother.
Yeah, please, BKO. I personally want to appeal that Mr. Cyril should try and we want to see more of him. It's like junior BKO. Anytime we hear his voice, it's also a very good analyst. Please help us to.
Thank you very much for contributing. He's talking about cereal. He's talking about cereal. He's a junior BKO. But across Lagos, gentlemen, we are also having, alarming security concerns, not just in the east. There is a reported raid on the palace of the Emir of Kagara in Niger State, the same area where students were, also kidnapped. That's Niger State. The Emir wasn't around at the time. Also, in Plateau State, there is also a reported kidnap of a former minister.
Yes, Ewuga.
All this all happening at once. Almost every state isn't. There appears to be no state that is immune to its own security woes. What can be done holistically?
We have said it earlier. The rate of insecurity is not just localized to the northeast again. We have instances where the Boko Haram elements or renegades are now moving around. I mean, those who claimed to have repented, and also those who are used to, who are engaging in cattle rustling before. Now they have seen that there is a higher pay from kidnapping. So a lot of people are going to kidnapping, and the more people continue to pay ransoms, and those kidnappers and those bandits are not getting caught, they are not being reprimanded. I mean, they are not paid. They're paying the price for their actions. Then I mean, it's like we are encouraging them that this pays. This business is good business. So they will continue to go into banditry, kidnapping, and what have you. Now they go to, I mean, imagine the effrontery, the audacity for hoodlums or bandits to go into the palace of an emir, to attempt to, abduct him for a ransom.
It would have been too embarrassing.
It would have been too embarrassing. I thank God that the man was not around. But it has happened in some parts of the country where they actually succeeded in taking traditional rulers and in some parts of the country. So it's quite embarrassing.
So they are not even kidnapping people on the highway.
They even
going right
in the privacy of their homes.
There was also something happened in Kogi, in Lokoja. There is an estate just after commissioner's quarters. They call it Wadaya Estate. They went there and plucked people out of their houses in the dead of night around 2 a.m. Took them away. So if you keep policemen on the highway, guiding the highway, imagine that protecting people against kidnapping. How about in the night when people are in their homes? They are now breaking people's doors and taking them away in the dead of night while they are sleeping. So this is the thing. We think security has collapsed in our country. We've got to do much better than we are doing. This is the fact. We can't run away from it. We can't run away. Kogi, that we are praising, Kogi, we are doing well. Look at some of the incidents that have happened in Kogi in the last few weeks.
Jailbreaks.
Go into a church.
And going to churches.
Two different churches. Yeah. They attacked 2 different churches. One, Living Faith, took away people. Then went to another church too, in the Kaba area, took people away, broke into a prison. In the same Kogi, went to the Wadaya Estate, took away people in the dead of night. So,
more still needs to be done. There's still a yawning gap. All right, let's leave that in the moment and at the moment and talk about yet another issue where it seems the COVID-19 pandemic might just become some sort of business venture for some Nigerians. The federal government has accused some airport workers of taking bribes from travelers, allowing them to evade the mandatory quarantine at the airports in the country. And the chairman of the Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19, Boss Mustafa, says the authorities are conducting all the investigations now to prevent a spike in infections in the country. Desperate times, and we are seeing people also capitalizing on a pandemic as the COVID-19 to make some money for themselves, albeit unpalatable as this.
It's, trust Nigerians, the way we do our things. One, I blame government. The cost of the PCR test is on the high side. At 51,000 naira. So people want to evade it. It ought to be subsidized. And for those who are traveling, the government want to tell you, yes, you must be rich before you say you want to travel. You can't just say you want to travel. Now people are hiding under that to try and beat the system. Nobody wants to pay, because before you travel, whether you are inbound or outbound, you must make provision for 2 tests, which is about 100,000 naira if you are in Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, or Kano. But other parts of the country, I think it's 39,000 times 2. So I don't know what informed that decision, as if it's not the same reagent that will be used in Lagos, that will be used that they are using in other states where you have a differential in price. But at times they will tell you because of the volume and what have you. But even if we are talking about volume, it should be it should be cheaper. So now people want to evade that. So the 7-day test that they normally book for when you are coming into the country, when you are inbound, those airport officials now have a way of telling whoever cares to listen that if you are coming in, you don't need to pay. Just come in, give us 10,000 or 20,000 and we'll allow you to go. So which means especially those from countries on the red list like India, Brazil, South Africa and Turkey. Those where the Delta variants are very prevalent. So that's why it is very, very difficult. And you see, we deceive ourselves quite a lot. Most of the testing we are doing now are those who pay to, the result of the test we see, are those who actually pay for the results. Because the moment you pay for the result, your result is uploaded into the NCDC database. So it's not as if the government is doing voluntary tests again. It's only when it becomes very expedient that somebody is critically ill that they will not, because nobody, me as Mojib Dami, will not say, now I'm feeling ill, I will now go, I want to go and do a test and pay 50,000. No, most people don't want to do that, except it's expedient on you to travel, and you need to pay that amount of money, and people are bypassing the system. And also, there was a time about 2 weeks ago that the system actually crashed. Even if you pay abroad, it's supposed to generate a paid receipt for you. But even if you pay, if you make a payment, you won't be able to see that receipt, the receipt. So people were now looking at ways to, to bypass the system. So the NCAA had to issue a statement then that airlines should allow passengers to come and make payments when they get into the country. So that opened up a lapse in the monitoring system. So people are
that will also be capitalized again.
Yeah,
used
people are capitalized. Yes.
Other
even those who didn't make any attempt to pay at all will say, I tried the portal is down. So even when the portal now came back, because I think the glitch was just for about 3 or 4 days. When the portal now came back, people were not using it again.
Imagine so the backlogs.
Yeah, they were just coming in and making payments. Even those who are traveling outside the country, they have a way of generating fake PCR tests that will give them a negative result. They present it at the airports and they will go. Even when they are accosted at the airport and the airport officials find out that this is a fake result, they will just call you aside and tell you, bros, this thing is fake, but if you still want to go, you know your flight, you miss your flight, drop 20K and you go. They'll take the 20K and they will allow the passenger to go.
We are even seeing people also, manipulating the COVID-19 vaccine cards. And now the government is also saying it will move on to wield the big stick on these elements within its workforce that are also issuing fake vaccine cards. What do you make of all these sharp practices, BKO?
Our capacity to respond appropriately when tipped off about these awesome practices is what I'm not impressed about. This thing is not new. This thing that this particular acts of corruption that the federal government is complaining about is not new. It's almost as old as COVID-19 in Nigeria.
As the pandemic.
Our
people have been doing this for some time. There was an alarm that was raised that the Minister of Health talked about, where he said that people were procuring fake PCR test results at point of entry in our country, mainly the Nnamdi Azikiwe airport in Abuja and Lagos. What we had was, we are going to investigate. What is the product? What is the end product of the investigation? We don't know. We do not see people punished. Governor Sanwo-Olu cried out loud the other day that people were coming into the country in order not to be quarantined. They give false phone numbers, false addresses, and all that, and they go and mesh into the crowd in our country, infecting our people in the process. Some of them from these countries that are already deemed the red flag countries, like South Africa, Turkey, Brazil, and India. People find a way to come in here and evade all the safety protocols that have been put in place. It's in our country that people get away with things like that. I don't know why we are this loose. Let anyone try it. Let anyone go to Rwanda or even Uganda. You saw that woman, the health minister, that her video went viral. He said, look, we have a place where we will keep you. He was talking to the foreigners who came into their country and said, but you will pay for your accommodation. Uganda will not pay because you come to our country for business, but we need to protect our people. She was telling them. That video went viral at the beginning of the COVID pandemic.
Yeah.
In our case, when we see white people we get starstruck. We will not be able to enforce our law against white people, because in any case, a lot of people are we are itching for the green colored currency. They are waiting to be given dollars.
In Ghana, when you get to Ghana from Nigeria, despite the fact that you have your negative COVID test, you will
do another one.
Another test at the airport.
That's the thing. That's the way it should be.
At the airport.
That's the way it should be.
In Ghana.
If you go to Rwanda, you are not going to choose your own hotel. They have a hotel that you are going to stay, so that they can be able to monitor you. The taxi that will pick you from the airport, those are taxis that have been designated to pick inbound passengers. You are not going to do what pleases you. No, they made up their mind, because at a point when they relaxed the measures, there was a spike in COVID-19 cases in their country.
Yeah.
They then said, okay, this is what we'll do. People that will test routinely, they are the ones who will be bringing people from the airport. And if you are going to their tourist centers, there are some tourist centers that at this time you can't even go. The ones that you can go that are designated, they will monitor you. You will do a test immediately you get into their country. They will put you in the hotel. You can't come out until the result of that test is out. You can't come out. So you are there when the result of the test comes. They will now pick you. There are buses that will be taking you as tourists to places.
And this is all enforced. It's all about enforcement.
No, the problem is we have laws. For every situation, we have laws. So
to respond.
But we do not enforce our laws.
We do not enforce our laws. We've run out of time. We just have to wrap up on today's edition of Journalist Hangout. And I must thank you, BKO and Mujid Jamil, for all your robust contributions on the program today. Thank you, both gentlemen.
Thanks.
And that's TVC News, Journalist Hangout. We thank you all, too, for watching and joining in to drop your contributions. Remember, you can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11 p.m. And you can also join us again tomorrow for another edition of the program. Don't forget to join us again on Sunday from 1:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. for Journalist Hangout Sunday Special. We're on YouTube as well, on youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. From all of us here, thank you very much for watching. I am Kemi Foladiemo. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.